every Friday and Tuesday we'll have shloka recitation for first 15 minutes. We will try to learn one shloka, two shlokas based on the size. Tomorrow we will maybe at 8:15 to 8:30. I thought we will do shloka recitations. So tomorrow also 8:15 to 8:30 we'll do first shloka of Bhagavatam. I'll be mentioning which shloka we will be doing. If you already know, you can just skip that part, and whoever is wanted to learn, they can learn the shloka. So this is how I was planning we will do. But this section we will again section wise we will try to. Yeah, so tomorrow we are having Prabhupada purports from 7:15 to 8:15, and 8:15 to 8:30 we'll be having shloka recitation Friday and Tuesday. So 2 times we can learn few shlokas in a week. And before we start, we will try to recite some important shlokas of this section. So we will do it from 6th shloka onwards. We have 6th to 14th, all are important. But in some this chapter especially, this chapter we have many shlokas to learn, and also 8th chapter also I told. So we will try to do it. Savai pumsam paro dharmo ito bhaktiradokshje ahaitika pratyata yatma suprasidati vasudeve bhagavati bhakti yoga prayojitah janatyasu vairagyam jnanam cha dahaitukam dharmasvanishtitah pumsam vishvaksena katasuya notpadayet idhiratim श्रमयेव हि केवलम् धर्मस्य हि आपवर्गस्य नार्तो अतायोपकल्पते नार्तस्य धर्मैकान्तस्य कामो लाभा हि स्मृतः कामस्य नैन्द्रियैर्प्रीति लाभो जीवेत यावता जीवस्य तत्त्वजिज्ञासा नार्तो यश्चेह कर्मभिः वदन्ति तत्तत्त्वविदस्तत्त्वं यज्ञानमद्वयं ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति भगवानिति शब्दते तच्चर्दधानया मुनयो ज्ञानवैराग्ययुक्तया पश्यन्त्यात्मनि चात्मानं भक्त्या श्रुतगृहीतया अतः पुंभिर्द्विजश्रेष्ठा वर्णाश्रमे भागशः स्वनिष्ठितस्य धर्मस्य संसिद्धिर्हरितोषणम् तस्मादेकेन मनसा भगवान् सात्वतां पतिः श्रोतव्यः कीर्तितव्यश्च ध्येयः पूज्यश्च नित्यदा यत् अनुध्यासीनि युक्ताः कर्मगृह्णीनि बन्धनं चिन्दन्ति कोविदस्तस्य को न कुर्यात् कदारतिम्. This will do 3 times. यत् अनुध्यासीन युक्ताः कर्मग्रन्थीनि बन्धनं चिन्दन्ति कोविदस्तस्य को न कुर्यात् कदारतिम्. यत् अनुध्यासीन युक्ताः कर्मग्रन्थीनि बन्धनं चिन्दन्ति कोविदस्तस्य को न कुर्यात् कदारतिम्. We will just summarize the previous section. So one suggestion I have, whoever is they are giving any classes or any programs they are taking, I suggest that they take this section, some who connect to your class, and try to take this section of Bhagavatam, especially from, of course, 2 parts you can take, from 6th shloka to 14th shloka and 15th shloka till 21st shloka. You can take in 2 sections. At least if you repeat it is 2-3 times, we will be able to understand it very much. This is very, very fundamental understanding. It is very, very helpful if we do it, and it will help because our foundation will be strong. Or you are not taking class, at least you catch some devotee and discuss with him. At least 3 times we should discuss. I already repeated 3 times. So then you will get some understanding. It will be very, very helpful, and we should always base our preaching on these principles only. That's the reason. Or anytime we are preaching, our preaching principles are this, based on this only. And Sukadeva Goswami is developing whole Bhagavatam on this. So we should also develop like this. I'll just revise. 6th and 7th are answering the first two questions of Saunaka Rishis. Sukadeva Goswami is answering them, that Dharma Swanishta Punsa. Dharma is savai pumsam paro dharma yate bhakti. If somebody asks what is dharma, or dharma is to do bhakti, and how to do ahaitukya pratyada, which is, this is how bhakti is ahituki and apratyata, without any interruption. We continue doing bhakti. That is only dharma. And Vasudeva bhakti, bhakti yoga prajanati asvairagyam. So knowledge and detachment automatically comes. No need to do any other thing. And then he gives, now he tells, okay, this is dharma. And what is not dharma? Dharma is not for artha. Of course, he tells first, dharma, if you are doing, if you are not getting taste for hearing Krishna Katha, then it is waste of time. Then he says dharma is only for apavarga, na artharopa kalpate. It's not for gaining artha. This is another thing he says, dharma. And kamasya naindriya priti, labho jivete avata. Then what should I do? How should I perform? Okay, you do your activities so much so that it will help you just bare maintenance. Remaining time you work for Krishna only. Remaining time for what? Kamasya naindriya priti, labho jivete avata. Jivasya tattva jignasa. Do tattva jignasa. And what is the tattva? Vadanti tattvavidis tattvam yadjnanavatam brahmeti paramatmeti Bhagavan ityasya. The tattva is it understood at 3 levels: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And how you understand it is to bhaktya shruta grihiteya. By tat shraddhanaya munaya jnana vairagya yukta pashyanti atmana chatmana bhaktya shruta. By bhakti you can understand what is that tattva. You will understand that the absolute truth can be realized by performing devotional service. And then he says that okay, even all our varnashrama duties, it is all about dharma only. All these shlokas are about dharma. If somebody asks about dharma, this is the only thing we should reply. And varnashram dharma is for what? The highest perfection one can achieve in prescribing duty is to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is what he is explaining. Samsiddhir haritoshanam. That's all. So this is another very simple understanding. And then we have that's why. So this is the conclusion of this section. Therefore, tasmat ekena manasa, with one point attention, constantly hear about, glorify, remember the personality of Godhead. So it's all clear. Our dharma is this and no other thing. And it's only for apavarga. It is to develop taste for Krishna. And just here, according to scriptures, you perform devotional service. All our varnashram duties are also for samsiddhir haritoshanam. So it's all clear. That's why just hear about, glorify, remember personality of Godhead, who is the protector of devotees. Now we completed this section. Yes, Chandrika Mataji.
Prabhuji, you said 6-7 verses are thesis, and then afterwards 8-14 antithesis. So I was just searching in Google what exactly means thesis and antithesis. Prabhuji, can you little explain it?
Yeah, thesis is you are establishing some point. Antithesis is you are telling what it is not. Dharma is not this, dharma is not this, dharma is not this, in that way.
Okay. And Prabhuji, you said about like giving class on this section. Even I was thinking, so Prabhuji, what topic will be given? What topic we can give it if we want to give classes at a clicking topic?
So many topics are there. What we have to tell is
like when we going to give classes, what nice topic we can give in the title.
Okay, topic. You can tell what exactly is our dharma. So everybody want to know their duty. What duty you have to perform? Duty should be performed to get taste. Duty should be performed to get out of apavarga. Duty is for pleasing Lord, and that is only going to satisfy our heart. And by doing this duty, you will get jnana and vairagya. Right? This duty should be performed according to scriptures, and all other duties which you are performing is only for pleasing the Supreme Lord. Therefore, here chant, glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's all.
We can write a title like "What is our dharma?" If we want to give class, the topic will be "What is our dharma?" Know about our dharma.
Yeah.
And Prabhuji, about this 14 verses you said, 15 is what? Wait, Prabhuji.
15th is a connection between these two sections, because next section starts how bhakti is developed in a person.
No, probably 12th verse. Tachadana Munayo Gyana. So,
Acha.
11th is Vadanti Tattva, na? And what is about this verse? 12th verse?
12th,
Tachadana Munayo Gyana Vairagya.
12th verse is telling how to understand that tattva. This tattva, which is absolute truth, is realized by rendering devotional service in terms of what we have heard from the. So by bhakti, we can realize that absolute truth. Okay, I told dharma is because in the in this 10th shloka it is said kamasya naindriya priti labho jivateva jivasya tattva jignasa. Your purpose of life should be understanding tattva. Now you ask, okay, what is that tattva? Tattva is three forms. How to realize it? Do bhakti. So according next shloka, okay, the tattva is in three aspects. Okay, how to realize that tattva? You realize that tattva by bhaktya shrotagriyate, like that. So again, it is doing, you do it by bhakti.
Okay, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, about shloka memorization, so it will be like 15 minutes in the class only, or otherwise you have in a group also we have to send something like that.
We will see, because in the group there only we will make sure that you learn in that 15 minutes only.
So we have to memorize in this 15 minutes only, Prabhuji.
We will do it, Mata. It is possible also. Once you start learning, na, you will be able to memorize in 15 minutes.
Prabhuji, अब इन फर्स्ट सेकंड चैप्टर का तो याद है, आगे के थोड़े से मुश्किल लगते हैं. ओके
नहीं,
प्रभुजी.
अभी आपने इतने बार इसमें सुन लिया ना माता जी, मैं हर बार उसको दोहरा रहा हूँ, तो अब इतने बार सुनते सुनते आपको याद हो जाएगा.
ठीक है प्रभुजी. ओके, हरे कृष्ण. थैंक यू प्रभुजी.
अमृत माता जी.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandat Pranams. Prabhu, actually, this shloka by hearting, what you're doing is a big job. Actually, you're doing 3 times the hard work. Why, you know, actually, Mataji does not know. If anybody, I have heard, reads the one shloka one time for 30 days, you'll get it by heart. So, our Adipurush Prabhu in our VIH Bhakti Shastri classes, he had told you make a list of 30 shlokas and read all 30 of them one time every day for 1 month. And at the end of 1 month, you will get it by heart. So I remembered how Janagana Mana in school we by-hearted, you know, one time we sang and we know it till today also. So Chandralekha Mataji does not have to worry only. You're doing three times, Prabhu. If she just repeats it daily one time also, after what you did as extra, she'll get it by heart. That's all, Prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So we will start with this. So this is we are reading the purport. So of course there is yesterday's Gail Mata's question on absolute truth, relative, and what is absolute. So we'll discuss maybe after our class in the end. But we will continue with our purport discussions. So this shloka says, with the sword in hand, intelligent man cut through the binding knots of reactionary work karma by remembering the personality of God. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? Now, the purport. The contact of spiritual spark with material elements creates a knot which must be cut if one wants to be liberated from the actions and reactions of fruitive work. Liberation means freedom from the cycle of reactionary work. This liberation automatically follows for one who constantly remembers the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead. This is because all the activities of the Supreme Lord, his Leela, are transcendental to the modes of material nature. They are all attractive spiritual activities, and therefore constant association with the spiritual activities of the Supreme Lord gradually spiritualizes the conditioned soul and ultimately serves the knot of material bondage. Liberation from material bondage is therefore a byproduct of devotional service. Attainment of spiritual knowledge is not sufficient to ensure liberation. Such knowledge must be overcoated with devotional service so that ultimately the devotional service alone predominates. Then liberation is made possible. Even the reactionary work of Rutu workers can lead one to liberation when it is overcoated with devotional service. Karma overcoated with devotional service is called Karma Yoga. Similarly, empirical knowledge overcoated with devotional service is called Jnana Yoga. But pure bhakti is independent of such karma and jnana because it alone can not only endow one with liberation from conditional life, but also award one the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So this purport is telling, if you want to get liberation, if you want to get moksha by karma process, by jnana process, by yoga process, compulsory it should have the limb of bhakti. Without bhakti, just by karma, just by jnana, just by yoga, one cannot attain liberation because they are within the modes. This process are within the modes. It cannot touch. It can go at the emotional level only. It cannot go beyond that. It can control the emotions. It can make a person aloof. It can give self-realization, but it cannot give realization. It cannot give liberation. Liberation is only possible when there is an aspect of bhakti in this process because bhakti is beyond the modes. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistrigunya Bhavarjana. And then when it comes to bhakti, you don't need any other thing. You don't need karma, jnana, yoga. It is like mixing mirchi masala and sweet rice. You don't need, you just need sweet rice. That is bhakti. That's what it is telling. And therefore, any sensible man who is above the average man with a poor fund of knowledge must constantly remember the personality of Godhead by hearing about him, by glorifying him, by remembering him, and by worshipping him always without cessation. That is the perfect way of devotional service. The Goswamis of Vrindavan, who were authorized by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach the Bhakti cult, rigidly followed this rule and made immense literatures of transcendental science for our benefit. They have chalked out ways for all classes of men in terms of different castes and orders of life in pursuance of the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam and similar other authoritative scriptures. So our Goswamis have given the guidelines how we should do, and they are very clearly telling no idea of any other thing. So now this is a very important section. These are two important sections of this second chapter. What I will do, I'll just summarize this section, what all things are. There are actually 14 stages of bhakti, which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, and of course, Balram Shakti Pro is going to take very elaborated because it's all Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's. But still, I'll give just some brief overview so that, and when Prabhuji takes, then your understanding becomes more fortified. You'll be able to understand it more clearly. So here we'll just read this verse and translation, then I'll explain how this is proceeding and what is the formula that Sutta Goswami is trying to explain here. So the shloka starts, we'll do it 3 times. Sushroshatadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Shan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevana Sushroshatadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Shan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevana Shushroshatadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Shan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevana. O twice born sage, by serving those devotees who are completely free from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva. Now, this is a very important verse. How it starts is, there are 14 stages, what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains. We will try to understand this, what exactly happens. So, first thing happens according to the stages. First is Satam Krupa. Satam Krupa means mercy of a devotee. This starts. So, a devotee looks at a person and thinks, oh, this person is good. He really he does not know many things. So he is unnecessarily rotting in this material world, and he wanted to show some mercy to me. Without mercy of devotee, we cannot do anything. That is the first thing we all need. Somebody should feel for us. And if somebody has shown mercy to us, he had he contemplated on us. He thought, okay, let me give something to him. So, but generally, if there is a contempt, people feel, oh, I am better than him, then it is not possible. There should be compassion, then only it is possible. Compassion is when I look at some person and I say, oh, this is actually a spark of the Lord, is the living entity spark, is completely buried or covered under karma. So he want to show him compassion. So we have the story of Giriraj Maharaj, just to give an example. And Giriraj Maharaj, he was Gail, I think his name previously, and he comes to Bhakt Greg, Greg. Now what happens is he was from very affluent family and all, but he was searching for other gurus here, there, everywhere he used to go, and he above the bed he has written, I am God, and he used to every day meditate. He went to once Prabhupada came to that city and he went to attend the lecture, and Prabhupada spoke, and after that Prabhupada asked any questions, so he raised his hand and Prabhupada asked, it's okay. But then Maharaj asked, how can I know who is a bona fide spiritual master? That was his question. And Prabhupada immediately answers, it depends. It depends on whether you want to become God or you want to serve God. So as soon as he heard this answer, immediately he remembered he has written this, I am God in front of, and he understood that Prabhupada knows. He understood Prabhupada is understanding what is in my mind. So people, they write this, I am God, and meditate on it in case God should not forget that he is God. It's so embarrassing. So they write. So then he says, he understood what is the truth. I want to serve God. And then he joins the ashram. And after he becomes a brahmachari there, after 1 year again Prabhupada comes. And Prabhupada again gives a class, and again Giriraj Maharaj, he raises hand for asking question. That time Prabhupada said, oh, I remember you. Last year when I came, you asked the question, how to know a bona fide spiritual master. That time, I was praying to Krishna, that such a nice boy, let him become devotee. And this is actually the, so many things, of course, big story, I will not tell. But the point is, when Prabhupada prayed, Prabhupada desired, immediately he got, this is called Satam Kripa. So what happens when Satam Kripa comes? Next is what is explained. The second thing happens is, there is an inspiration in the heart and a desire to do something for the devotees. It's a faint one, but there is a desire. And then Mahat Seva means that my heart, there is a shadow of a desire to do something for a devotee, to bring him some help or something like that. So, yeah, Mahat Krupa or Satam Krupa is same. And then the Seva for, then we want to do some service, and internal respect is generated for that person. So this is what happens. Like Prabhupada is and second thing is, then you render some service. So there are so many people who just little bit service they did for Prabhupada, and immediately, now the third thing is, when you start doing service, what happens is the third stage comes. This is the most important stage for us. It is Shraddha. Now Shraddha is, there is a feeling that I need bhakti. So when a person feels I need bhakti, this is actually mercy of a devotee. By devotee's mercy, we get this desire. Before that, we thought I need maybe washing machine, I need a wife or a husband, I need a mobile or apartment. So we get so many other desires. But when you get this desire, maybe I need bhakti, that is what is Shraddha starts. And suddenly that there is, even though it's a shadow of faith, but because we have many other desires, but the shadow also appeared that I need. Because when you develop that faith, it interrupts the karma. So karma grandhi, when it stops, the karma is interrupted when this shadow of faith comes. And what happens is, suddenly I cannot continue to live the way I am living now, even though everything is fine. Everything is going on nicely, smooth in life, but you feel that no, this is not the way to live. So there is a feeling inside that I am living wrong. So when this comes, this is actually faith. Now, we understand maybe I am living in vain. This is, we feel that there is something not right, despite the fact that everything is normal, but you will not feel comfortable. This is the mercy of a devotee. Like not your people say, "Arey, previously I was very good. After coming for bhakti, I understood is all wrong. So it made me miserable." It is actually correct only. So the moment uh, something collapses, everything collapses actually. It is something is broken inside, and we don't feel correct. So this is where it comes. And then the fourth stage, this leads to what? uh, Guru Padashray. Then we start taking shelter of Guru, because if you get Shraddha, some kind of faith, then what happens? Then we definitely accept a Guru. Yeah, so we definitely accept Guru, because Shraddha means that I understand that what I am doing, I need to learn something. I need to learn to do something else. This is not the thing I need. I need something else. That means I need a Guru. If I try to master it on my own, I will never do it. So that's why Prabhupada says it is very, very important. For that, we need humility. So this is next stage. To accept Guru means we need humility. This is a very important. Yeah, we have one question. Amrita Madhavi Mata is asking. Shadow of faith. From where such wonderful faith? Shadow. This is, I think, yeah, this is Vishnu Chakra Thakur's only. This I'm just telling from Vishnu Chakra. You'll hear from Balram Shikpro also same thing in more detail. I'm just giving brief because we have to go for purports. But before reading purport, I want you to know the structure. That's why I'm telling all these points. Otherwise, it is not in my syllabus. But part of proper discussions, I thought I'll help you in understanding the structure, what is exactly. So you'll be able to relate and remember, memorize the purports. That's my. So then everything begins with humility. So then we feel that I want to receive knowledge. But in order that we need humility, and without humility, knowledge will not come. This is very important. So very important point is, without knowledge, we cannot gain humility. And knowledge comes in the humble heart who says, okay, now I don't know. I need to surrender. And then what happens is, then we go for somebody who can we are approaching a guru, and this is what Rupa Goswami also says, that first 5 parts of devotional service. So Guru Padashray, Diksha Shikshanam, and all these things, Krishna Diksha Shikshanam, and all these things. So these are the first parts. So one needs to accept somebody's protection. So this is very important. So Ashraya means protection. Protection from what? This is very important. what we need protection from? Protection from our own mind. Otherwise, it will eat up. Because we accept protection because we have so many doubts in our mind. Our faith at the very beginning is very, very weak. To make faith stronger, we need a guru who will help us overcome all these things and the strong, strange problems that are there in our mind. And then comes the next level, which is called Bhajaneshu Spruha, which Vishwanath Thakur says that that means a desire to practice bhajan. Okay, maybe I should also become devotees and chant. So this is the next stage comes, and it's a desire. After I accept spiritual master, I get active energy within, and I want to do something. And then what we do, we start repeating the mantra. I want to practice kirtan, and then we start doing. This is all called then bhajaneshu spruha. Then we start doing bhajan, and then the bhakti. So then what happens is once you start bhajan, then further interesting that happens, which is then anarthas will start appearing. So when a person begins bhajan or service, he begins to do what he does not want to do previously. We never want to do bhajans, we never want to do. But what happens? At this moment, the worst thing happens. What is that? All the anarthas come. Not that we didn't have, we don't know that we have. Now when we start doing it, we start seeing, array, I have so many anarthas now. And it is not very easy for us to be good. I want to be good and right for myself, because we always feel, if we feel I am good, I'll be very happy. But they, at the same time, our so-called good, which we thought I was good, then we understand, no, I am not really good. Then this is just our image. I am a nice person, I do my duty and all these things. But then we start understanding, oh, there are so many anarthas. I have this lust, greed, pride, anger, envy, all these things. So many desires are there. I thought I'm a devotee, but I'm understanding, no. So what happens at this, and these are very strong desires also. So, and we should not invite these desires. When you are doing sadhana, especially, these desires are the obstacles. And somebody is doing sadhana and watching TV, then he is only increasing his desires. It is not at all sadhana bhakti. We should be very strict. It is very detrimental because it is increasing. Along with our Shravanam Kirtana, we should not, because how it is very important. Maybe, okay, we will just two, three purports, then I'll come back to this. Otherwise, we'll never be able to. Because this sloka is connected. Next sloka, when we comes, I'll talk about Bhajana Kriya, because this is first talking about Mahat Kripa and then Satam Kripa, then we have Mahat Seva. So this is verse is talking about it. Purport: the conditioned life of a living being is caused by his revolution against the Lord. There are men called devas or godly living beings, and there are men called asuras or demons who are against the authority of the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16 chapter, a vivid description of asuras is given, in which it is said that the asuras are put into lower and lower states of ignorance life after life, and so sink to the lower animal forms and have no information of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. These asuras are gradually rectified to God consciousness by the mercy of Lord's liberated servitors in different countries according to the supreme will. Different countries means other religions also, Muhammad, Prophet, or Jesus. Such devotees of God are very confidential associates of the Lord, and they come to save human society from the dangers of godlessness They are known as the powerful incarnations of the Lord, as Son of Lord, as servants of Lord, or an associate of the Lord. But none of them falsely claim to be God themselves. This is a blasphemy declared by the Asuras, and the demoniac followers of such Asuras are also accepted pretenders as God or his incarnation. In the revealed scriptures, there is definite information of the incarnation of God. No one should be accepted as God or an incarnation of God unless he is confirmed by the revealed scriptures. So, in some ways, Abrahamic religion, at least they don't say we are God. But in India, there are so many religions, so-called, who claim to be God, or they say you will become God. But at least in Abrahamic religions, they say they're messenger of God or son of God. So in that way, they're much better than some of our so-called Indian religions. We may be proud that it is Indian religion, but Indian religion only so much kachada is there because they don't know that they can become God, at least in Abrahamic religion. But in India, many people feel that they become God. At least if you touch 100 people, 10 people will have this understanding. So that much contamination is there in India. The servants of God are to be respected as God by the devotees who actually want to go back to Godhead. Such servants of God are called Mahatmas or Tirthas, and they preach according to a particular time and place. The servants of God urge people to become devotees of the Lord. They never tolerate being called God. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was God himself according to the indications of the revealed scriptures, but he played the part of a devotee. People who know him to be God addressed him as God, but he used to block his ears with his hands and chant the name of Lord Vishnu. He strongly protested against being called God, although undoubtedly he was God himself. The Lord behaves so to warn us against unscrupulous men who take pleasure in being addressed as God. So many gods appear in India. So many Babas and all, they all become God. In India, it is very famous. They take this position very fast. Becoming God is so easy in India. If you can sing nicely some devotional bhajans, first you become Guru, slowly, and then you become God. The servants of God come to propagate God consciousness, and intelligent men should cooperate with them in every respect. By serving the servant of God, one can please God more than by directly serving the Lord. The Lord is more pleased when he sees that his servants are properly respected because such servants risk everything for the service of the Lord and so are very dear to the Lord. The Lord declares in Bhagavad Gita 1869 that no one is dear to him than one who risks everything to preach his glories. By serving the servants of the Lord, one gradually gets the quality of such servants, and thus one becomes qualified to hear the glories of God. The eagerness to hear about God is the first qualification of devotees eligible for entering the kingdom of God. So this is very clear. The next shloka is very important. Chandrakanta Mata is asking, Prabhuji, while Mahat Krupa is there, any qualification of a person who is receiving mercy, or it's all causeless mercy of the devotee who is giving? Yes, it's all causeless. Prabhupada went to West, the devotee asked, what is our qualification? Prabhupada said, no qualification, I made you qualified. Mahat Krupa is no qualification. Most lowest of the person can become a pure devotee just because of somebody desired it. And somebody big pandits, they may not become devotees. They may remain in this material world. But the lowest of the person, most fallen person, Jagai Madai, they can get Mahat Krupa, they can go back to spiritual world. So that is what is the specialty of Mahat Krupa. Somebody desires for us that this person should become devotee. That's all. We are saved. So we'll do that. Shanvatam Swakata Krishna Punyashavana Kirtanaha Hridyantasto hi abhadrani vidunoti suhutsatam. Shanvatam Swakata Krishna Punyashavana Kirtanaha Hridyantasto hi abhadrani vidunoti suhutsatam. Shanvatam Swakata Krishna Punyashavana Kirtanaha Tadyantasto hi abhadrani vidunoti suhutsatam. The question is why he desires for one and not for others. It is his causeless. He desires, that's all. We cannot say why he desired. Like we are going and distributing books, and we see some face, we feel maybe I should give book to this fellow. Sometimes we are in bus stand, at railway station, some other public places. When we see some people and we are having some book or prasadam, some card, and some children we see or somebody, suddenly we feel some feeling for that person, and immediately we feel, yeah, maybe I should give something to him. So we will give a card, prasadam, or something to him. The Monica Mata is asking question. I have not accepted Guru yet, but still I connect myself at the stage of Anartha Nivritti. So is it possible to alternate order? You are reading Prabhupada books. You are understanding that you are following the teachings of Prabhupada. We are accepting Guru, right? Prabhupada is our Pratapadaksha Guru. We are accepting Guru. You may then you need a personal guide more. For that, you then when we start growing further, then what happens is, then we need a personal guide, a person who can more closely observe and help us. Then we start searching, and then we'll identify. We have some 90 gurus in ISKCON, so some of them will be very inspiring for you with their personal life, and then you accept Diksha from them. Chandrakanta is asking, we sadhakas also give Mahat Kripa. We give Prabhupada's Kripa. Prasad is Krishna's Prasadam. So we relish Prasadam. So when we see somebody, we want to give them Prasadam. We want to give the photo of Krishna. So through us also, we can also give Mahat Kripa. We can give Prabhupada books we are giving. So they get Mahat Kripa in that way. Yes. So we will just take... We still have time. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotees, cleanses desires for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his message, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Sorry, I did not explain the previous translation. I'll just go back. So here it is said, by serving those devotees who are completely free from vices, great service is done. By such service, one gain affinity to hearing the message of Vasudeva. So once we start hearing about serving devotees, then we get the desire, the Shraddha appears, then we get a desire to hear about Lord. So this is after little service, then we develop Shraddha. It's like that. And here it is said that when we start rendering service, the Lord in the heart, effecture of the truthful, cleanses the desires from material enjoyment from the heart. So here this is Anartha Nivritti happens when we start doing bhajan. So when we render little service to a Vaishnava, then we develop Shraddha, and then we start doing our sadhana bhakti. And when we do, the Lord in the heart, he removes the material desires of the devotee who has developed urge to hear his message, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. We'll read the purport. I'm just taking little time in this because these are very important section. That's why I'm just taking little time in covering. Maybe from third chapter onwards, we will not be able to, will not do so much time. But this is a very foundational section, so that's why I'm trying to spend time in this. Message of personality of Godhead Sri Krishna non-different from him. Whenever, therefore, offenseless hearing and glorification of God are undertaken, it is to be understood that Lord Krishna is present there in the form of transcendental sound, which is as powerful as the Lord personally. The first thing is offenseless. We should be very careful that we don't commit offenses. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Sixthashtakam declares clearly that the holy name of Lord has all the potencies of the Lord, and that he has endowed his innumerable names with the same potency. There is no rigid fixed fixture of time, and anyone can chant the holy name with attention and reverence at his convenience. The Lord is so kind to us that he can be present before us personally in the form of transcendental sound. But unfortunately, we have no taste for hearing and glorifying the Lord's name and activities. We have already discussed developing a taste for hearing and chanting the holy sound. It is done to the medium of service to the pure devotees of the Lord. So here, to the main thing what Lord is Prabhupada is trying to tell, you should do offenseless, and Lord has invested all his potencies, and there are no rules for chanting the holy name. And then Prabhupada further says, the Lord is reciprocally respondent to his devotees. When he sees that a devotee is completely sincere in getting admittance to the transcendental service of the Lord, and has thus become eager to hear about him, the Lord acts from within the devotee in such a way that the devotee may easily go back to him. The Lord is more anxious to take us back into his kingdom than we can desire. Most of us do not desire at all to go back to Godhead. Only a few, very few men want to go back to Godhead. But anyone who desires to go back to Godhead, Sri Krishna helps in all respects. What happens is, when we chant, there are 4 levels of vibrations. The body level, the Vaikarika Vak, Madhyam Vak, Pashyanti Vak, and Paravak. So all the 3 levels, there is a sound that is going on. One is at the level of soul, which is desiring to enjoy in this material world. The second level is where we have all other desires, different forms of desires. I want a washing machine, or I want a car or an apartment. Then there is at the level of thoughts, how to fulfill the desires, and then we speak. That is another level of sound. Now, when we chant, we are externally chanting. Now, this is only sound that is heard, but slowly the sound, that's why we have to repeat many times. Then what happens, then at the level of thoughts also, instead of thoughts we start chanting. Now presently what is happening is, as soon as we wake up, our mind starts speaking to us. What is this, what happened here, or this movie, that movie, for materialistic people. So about sports or about politics, some dialogue is going on inside. So we start chanting at the level of thoughts also, which is very important for us. And then there is next level at the level of desires. So at the level of desires also, that is actually very important level. So when we start chanting more and more at the level of our vibrations, we got some professional beggars. Roper says is in front of our center. So what happens is, our desires also start. The meaning of Hare Krishna mantra is, I want to render service. So I want to render service. So this is external, a thought level. Then the desires also says, I want to serve. And then ultimately at the level of soul, the soul will says, okay, I want to serve. Then we are in the spiritual world. So this desire, what Prabhupada is telling, the desire to go back home, back to Godhead, it will come eventually when we start chanting slowly again and again, more and more. Then from the thought level, desire also appears. At that level, it is Pashyanti Vak. Yeah, at the level of soul, we have this is called Paravak, and then there is Pashyanti Vak, there is Madhyam Vak, and Vaikarik Vak, the 4 levels of sounds. So at the level of desires, the desire to affect, we chant, and then we get a desire. It clicks. Yes, maybe I also want to serve Lord, and I want to go back to God. So all these desires that are there will eventually get evaporated. So anartha nivritti takes place. This is at the level of vasanas. Anyway, we have another elaborately discussed on this in other sections, but we'll just complete our discussion on this. One cannot enter into the kingdom of God unless one is perfectly cleared of all sins. The material sins are products of our desires to lord it over material nature. It is very difficult to get rid of such desires. Women and wealth are very difficult problems for the devotees making progress in the path back to Godhead. Many stalwarts in devotional life fell victims to these allurements and thus retreated from the path of liberation. But when one is helped by the Lord Himself, the whole process becomes as easy as anything by the divine grace of the Lord. So there are so many obstacles, but if we are sincere, Lord is going to help. To become restless in contact of women and wealth is not an astonishment, because every living being is associated with such things from remote time, practically immemorial, and it takes time to recover from this foreign nature. But if one is engaged in hearing the glories of the Lord, gradually he realizes his real position. By the grace of God, such a devotee gets sufficient strength to defend himself from the state of disturbances, and gradually all disturbing elements are eliminated from his mind. So we are in contact with material nature for long, and we got conditioned to material nature. Now to get out of it is not so easy. We need really mercy of the Lord. So yes, Mataji. Chandrika Mataji, you had some question.
Prabhuji is written, there's no rigid fixture of time and any time can chant the holy name with attention and reverence at his convenience. But Prabhuji, sometimes some devotees say that they are chanting in three modes also, mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. What does that mean? That without bathing you cannot chant? Is it in mode of ignorance? Is it like this, Prabhuji?
I didn't understand your question, Mataji.
Prabhuji, it's said na ki there's no rigid fixture of time in
Yeah, that
anyone can
understood.
chant. Yeah, so but sometimes it is said that chanting is also in mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So if a person is chanting without taking bath, like in train and all, so is it count in mode of ignorance, Prabhuji?
No, we are in mode of ignorance passion. Chanting is always transcendental.
No, no. So
What
is it
happens
like
is,
the chanting?
no,
Okay.
chanting, you don't have rule. You can, without taking bath also, you can chant. People, many of the devotees, they just wake up, wash their face and mouth, sit, chant all their rounds, then they do their yoga, then they take bath. It is not any problem like that. There
It's
is
not
no rule.
wrong.
No rule.
Okay.
Anytime, anywhere, you can chant, you will get full benefit.
But it's good if we take bath. Is it like this, Prabhuji?
What happens, see, like we are affected by different modes. So if somebody is so much in tamoguna and is very sleepy, better he takes bath and chant, because he will not feel that effect of tamoguna on him, so that he can peacefully chant. So we are in affected by modes. So when you take bath, you are little fresh, you are not in affected by so much tamoguna. But somebody don't have that problem, just washing their face and mouth, then they are freed from that tamuguda mentality, and they can peacefully chant. So recommendation is based on our what is uh, favorable for them. Somebody, their body has some issues, so they take bath later. But basically, to not to get affected by tamoguna, rajoguna, if you don't chant in the morning time, if you are chanting in daytime, it is affected by rajoguna. When we are chanting, say after 9 o'clock, you or afternoon 2 o'clock, or evening 7 o'clock, we start our chanting. It will be definitely not as much good quality as you chant before 6. Like that.
Okay.
Yes, Gil.
Yes, Prabhu. I won't ask that other question, but this just simple definition for vasanas, right? Can that be defined as negative samskaras? Because there's some samskaras that are favorable for devotional service, right? Some that are negative, unfavorable. So would we say that vasanas are unfavorable samskaras?
Vasanas generally means, Mataji, they are inclinations. So if you exactly want to understand what vasanas basically, they are our inclinations, they are our tendencies, or you can say uh, they are the habits and subtle qualities, and arise as an impression of the sanskaras. It can be positive also, negative also. It need not be only negative. And basically desires also, we can say all the desires are vasanas, and they manifest certain kinds of habit or features of our character, like that. That's how we understand.
Mhm. Okay, yeah, I'm asking because someone else had said that
It
definitely
need
they
not be
were
negative. That need not be negative all the
Hmm.
time. It can be positive also.
Okay. Yeah, and so the relationship between vasanas and samskaras is that samskaras is kind of what gives rise to vasanas. Can we say that? Maybe.
Vasanas are cluster of sanskaras which are given in this life. Samskaras are they are the impressions in our chitta from many lifetimes.
Uh-huh.
But adrushta, it decides that what set of sanskaras should be given in this life. So the set of the cluster of sanskaras in this life are called vasanas.
Okay, and adrishta, what was that? Adrishta.
Adrushta is the person Adrushta is the deciding factor which sanskara should be manifested in this life. Something should decide, na? Deciding, the Adrushta decides for us.
Adrishta is that a person?
No, it's a deciding factor.
Okay. Okay.
Like, no, you call it destiny, na? Destiny. So it's Adrushta. See,
Okay.
what happens, I have so many sanskaras, some good, some bad are taken, combined and given in this lifetime. So the deciding factor, what sanskaras from which life should be given, is Adrishta.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandavat Pranams. I
Dandavat.
just wanted to convey this one point because once for my answer, you had told you're also suffering with some anarthas. And as a reply to that, after hearing so many classes of yours, I wish to say like how we will never compare our physician, our doctors with anyone else. Once we like a doctor, when we feel his all medicines are helping us so much, then we don't compare whether he's the best in the world, but he's the best for me. Like that, Prabhu, you are such a wonderful spiritual doctor that you are not only helping me to know me better, to help me how I can hear in four types, in good ways and four bad ways. And you also told about how the Shraddha develops today, at what point what happens, all these things. When we know about ourselves through your classes, we can work on improving on different areas, and when we are knowing ourselves better, we are able to help others to know them better and help them better. Prabhu, what more do we want? Your classes are not comparable with anybody else, and therefore you don't have to compare with anybody else, and you are the best for those devotees who want to become best in their practices, in their bhakti. So just this much I wanted to say, that I'm seeing so much of improvement. And Prabhu, I'm telling you all this while I'm doing yogasana, I'm doing pranayama and hearing. I have no time to book and pen it. So I'm going to hear all these. I purchased 400 pages book for your class and for Balram Shakti Prabhu's class. And I'll be making notes of all this and I will get full benefit. Now, without that only, I'm seeing so much good in your classes. So I'm very grateful, and I'm sure all these devotees who are coming, they're not going. Why they're not going after Balram Shakti Prabhu class? Because each one, I'm sure, is feeling like me. You are a wonderful spiritual doctor for anyone who wants to really grow in their bhakti and to correct themselves. You said that there is no karma. I didn't know that. There's no karma. I was thinking I'm still under karma and it's going. and thank you for all those new things that we are getting. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, it's all courtesy, Balram Shakti Pro and Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj. I just repeat. I'm no, I'm not a big. I myself am trying to practice what I'm hearing. And thank you for your kind words. And I should give all credit to Balram Shakti Prabhu and Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj. I just repeat from what I hear from them, and I try to practice. And I feel if somebody is, I'm sharing because I'm getting benefited. So I thought I will share with more and more devotees, so they also get benefited. Thank you very much, Mataji, for your kind words. So today I satisfied Gail Mataji in very less time. So we will just. Oh, I think we are out of time. So thank you all very much. We'll end our discussion today. We'll continue tomorrow. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Tomorrow we will have at 7:15 to 8:15, and 8:15 to 8:30 we'll be having first shloka of Bhagavatam. If somebody knows, they can they want to learn, they can do. We'll do first shloka because it's a big one. We'll take time.